dollars, eating shrimp by the dollar. Met some girls in Guatemala, now they trying to holler.
Now before they wouldn't bother, now I'm trying to be a scholar, cause she giving all the knowledge to me.
Knowledge to me.
Doing homework every night of the week.
Night of the week.
Like she chillin' up at college with me.
College with me, but we cruising, man. Rolling up at 4:30. Kush same color as a Kobe Road jersey, or a throwback worthy. Giraffe ass high, fresh breeze just passing us by. Cause I'm cruising on a Sunday afternoon. I got my good shoes on, ain't got no bad news. Here's what you say to the lady. Let me squeeze you, oh, let me hold you, oh, let me squeeze you, oh, let me hold you. Why? Cause I don't wanna leave this party, baby, without you. What you waiting for? Hop in the ride.
Okay.
What you waiting for? Hop in the ride. I arrive at a party at 9. I reside beside Sim. Think when we fly, time's on our side. But look again, then it's 11 p.m. Chalk it on the board. Time to sin. Let's begin. Hey, you kinda cute, and I got the loot to befriend both you and your girlfriend too.
You single Tim Jones?
Well, that depends. Just then she turned to a friend and she said,
I really like him.
Say word.
I really like him.
Oh yeah.
I really, 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 really like.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to JCT TV. I'm Papa T, proud to be here with you today. I want to extend our gratitude to the folks to my right, your left out there in TV land, none other than Jose Coco Velez.
Hello, what's up, Papa T?
Also JDX.
Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know, one of the things that I would like to extend is our guest in the audience today from the clock hour, none other than Timekeeper 35, Marvin Kennel. We also want to extend to the chief engineer in the back, making all this magical surroundings happening here, and none other than the outstanding Big Al. With that being said, we are addressing a fantastic subject matter today, and the subject matter is stipulation and ramification, and I'm hoping that we can give it the address that it deserves, because those are two magnificent terms. With that being said, I'm going to pass it to my right, anyone that would like to pick up on that subject issue and open up the floor.
How's it going, Papa T? How's it going, Daniel?
Everything
Fantastic,
is good.
fantastic.
It's good to be back here. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yes, sir.
We're always talking about good stuff. Talking about ramifications and stipulations. Stipulations is the rules or what's going on. What's the deal that we got or the negotiation that we're going to be. There's stipulations to everything. You have to, with every action, there's reaction. There's always something, a chain of effects. So stipulation is what happens in these chain of effects, or what is allowed to happen, or what can happen in certain situations or dealings. And ramifications is always what comes of it. So
The result of it.
everything you do, you always have to expect a result. During the show with you, you know what I mean, I had a part to play, but you don't realize how big it might be overall. Exactly. You know what I mean? You feel like, oh, can I get some shine? And you're like, look how much shine you got, bro. It's all out there.
There you go.
So there's always a ramification for what you do. And stipulation, yeah, I think there's a little bit of that in everything. A little bit of stipulation, a little bit of ramifications, a lot of bit of ramifications.
Yeah, because last night we had a nice topic on stipulation, right?
Yes, sir.
And what we really discussed, it was about life itself, the issue of life, so and the reward and the benefits, and what is the purpose of all those things comes together. And because the ramification of the true understanding about stimulation was that to us, the life we are living today, is it the reality of what we know? Or what can we learn from what we have learned to relearn ourselves? Because today we are living in a world where everything you know is like it's a fairy tale story with a big cover up on it. And now for us to expose that truth, the reality of the truth that is behind that stimulation, that they give us the idea of who you are and who we are. And, you know, and truth is manifesting itself in a light that it's uncovering darkness out of.
Okay, I'm going to see if I'm picking up exactly what you gentlemen are saying. When you're speaking about stipulation, You're talking about something that's applied to any situation or circumstance?
Yes, sir.
And if we look at today, for instance, I heard something to the fact about, well, actually two major stories, current events. One was on the issue of fentanyl, right? How deadly and dangerous it is and how it's spreading throughout the nation, where it's coming from and what some of the circumstances could be, how it's getting here, right? And its effects, right? And I would like to know, talking about fentanyl, but I'm going to give you the other subject matter too. The other subject matter is we've been in a state of seclusion almost, or an exclusion because of COVID-19, right? And now I hear that it is no longer a national or international emergency, right? So I want you to take those two terms, stipulation and ramification, and elaborate on those two subject matters, if you gentlemen will.
But just as you said, fentanyl, I was just coming as I brought it to your attention that it kills 78,000 people a year. Now, for it to come into our square of life, from wherever it's coming from, that means we, the consumer, have a problem.
Okay.
And by us at the consumer part of that lifestyle to be produced in from a foreign country to come to us.
Okay.
I want to know what I'm looking at is that why are we so sick to allow such a dreadful and deadly thing like, fentanyl come into this country, and we are the one that's the victim of it because we are so receptive.
And not to cut you off, but not even victim. Let's use the term consumer.
Consumer, yeah. So we are the consumer. What gives us that desire to be such a consuming people, to be the one that is so gullible, to take it when we know for the end of the year, 78,000 people can lose their life. And as you brought it to my attention, in one day, you said?
Yes, sir.
100 reach in the hospital.
That's just in New Haven, Connecticut alone.
It's all over. People are.
And the ramification of it is that the result, 100 in a day in the hospital, 78,000 in a year. Now, we're not talking, if that's just the one it affects, what is the percentage of those that are doing it?
Exactly.
It makes you think, like, why somebody would go out their way to do something like that when they know the ramifications of drugs or certain chemicals or things. It means that people really want to find a way to get away or to, whatever reason they do it, an addiction, mental health. It's always come back to some kind of mental health. That's sort of what you're saying, where we're blinded by what's on TV and look what this person got. Look at this. Why can't I get it? Even though you can in a certain way, but you have to be educated towards it in a certain, like there's a lot of king talk and, finding yourself and who you are as a person and what you bring to the world or what you mean to the world. So if you know the ramifications is death and losing yourself and other people losing you in the process, you're cutting off your wheels to the machine or something. I mean, it's like
I like that term, cutting off the wheels to the machine.
Cutting your wheels to the machine.
The thing is that the reason that I just interjected a little when Brother JDX was speaking is because of the fact that we as a country, especially here in America, we are the largest consumers in the whole entire world, right? So my whole thing is this. We have become so weak. And in becoming so weak, not just physically, because almost over 70-something% of the people are out of shape, right? Mentally. Now we want to jump on the mental illness bandwagon, right? We're the victims, right? We are not victims here in America of anything. We are consumers. We are the superpower, right? We do the things that we do because we elect to do them. And until we stop creating these organizations that feed off of these demises, we're going to continue to be the major consumers. We're going to continue to become weaker and weaker in the process. and the stipulation that needs to be put on the results of what we do is a serious ramification. And the ramification has to be severe. That's the only way. The gentleman, I believe his name was Ferdinand Marco or something like that in the Philippines, and people were selling drugs, and he just terminated them.
Duarte.
Yeah, whatever his name was. Yeah, what was his name?
Duarte?
Yes.
That was the president, right?
Yeah.
Whoever it was, I'm terrible with names, but the actual fact is that they were terminating people to death.
Yes,
I'm not
sir.
saying that we need to do that here, but it has to be something severe. The ramification has to be severe.
It
and
has
that's
to.
just talking about fentanyl, right? Let's go to COVID now, and let's see if we can address some of the issues of COVID and as far as stipulation and ramification.
It was sort of talking about that where your focus, so a lot of things flashed on the TV or the news, certain to grab your attention and get you away from other things that might get your attention. Not saying that's necessarily what COVID was or the fentanyl outbreaks and all this, but it's so people can look at it. You got to pay attention to yourself, because when you talk about the government or victimizing and this and that, ultimately it's you that's making the choice to do it. Sometimes you get stipulations and you got to, let me do this, whatever, but ultimately it's you that's going to do it. And who's benefiting off it are the prison systems, the drug dealers, or, whatever.
Rehab centers.
They keep rehab centers, anywhere,
It's always the system who's benefiting.
there's something's connecting off of it. So it's up to us. If I'm going to get my people better mentally and physically, I got to get myself better mentally, physically. Stop buying, consuming junk and things that are going to hurt you or useless product.
Yeah.
But as we was discussing the mental state of the people, I truly believe we are so dead spiritually likewise, because when we lost the focus of our Creator, because a man is nothing, no matter how much he possesses, no matter how much you can give him or her the whole world, at the end of the day, on what does your faith, the source of your life, stand? It says that, because if you have no value in because people in this country right now, there is no God.
Before we get cut
In
off,
this
hang on.
country, there is no God, because you can do whatever
Everybody
you want.
hold their thought. Everybody hold their thought. And that's exactly where my mind was going, is the fact that the scripture tells you that in the end, they would say that he delays his coming, and everybody would just start doing whatever they want. Hold your thoughts. We're going to come right back. We're going to pay homage to our sponsors for this particular show today. We'll be right back. Gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
We started a program, Big Al and myself, some years ago in regards to mothers who are no longer here, giving them the same love and appreciation as the mothers who are here. And I just want to say happy Mother's Day to the mothers here and the mothers that are here with us in spirit.
Hey, happy Mother's Day, Mom, Lisa, Diaz, everybody. Love y'all.
And to all the wonderful mothers all around the world, especially today, we are living in a world where 60% of all the household are run by mothers. I just want to wish those wonderful mothers all the best. And I know you guys have a double portion of work to do, but for love and appreciation, I want you to know that you are always in our heart. We love you.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back as I ask these gentlemen to hold their concepts and thoughts. I know that can be a hard thing to do. First, I want to extend a special welcome back to Jose.
Hey, Papa.
He's back.
Thank you.
He's like he never missed the beat. He's still on fire. And Danny, the regulator of the panel of the few. I just want you folks to feel the passion and the fire of the urgency of the moment. We are allegedly no longer in an emergency state with COVID, right? But the thing is, we're in an emergency state of people coming together and coming to the reality of whatever their supreme beliefs is, because we're facing serious times ahead. With that being said, I'm going to toss this back over to you, gentlemen, and you can continue where you left off.
Now, as I was saying earlier, Pops, because we're living in a country where God has been extinct, because it's like we put off the fire of God. And in the school, you can't discuss God. Even in the religious world, look at the way people live. It's all about money and vanity. the whole preaching of the minister has no power to even save the deadest person in the church, because his whole idea is the dollar sign for you to
And
be
ideology.
and because it's a blessings kingdom, and they cannot uplift you up because there is no power from them themselves, because they don't think of you as any other thing than a business proposal, because that's what you went to school for. And having a true understanding of God, every one of us is a temple. And when we can take that temple and bury it underneath the trash of this system, and not come into our true knowledge of the power that's within our own self to uplift ourselves to the standard of real gods and goddess on the face of the earth, especially from the foundation of the knowledge of the education that you are getting in the system, it is an education that is debasing you, not to uplift you. Because that educational system is more there to doctrinate you than to educate you. Because if you are educated, you're going to be a person of knowledge and understanding of your true self and of your true, of the environment that you are living in.
You can't be led into the darkness. So
you
easy.
cannot led into the darkness. And when you're looking at the world we are living in today, the people are going astray deeply, and we have such a terrible condition living in, because we talk about thousands of drugs today, and we were just only discussing one.
Exactly.
And in that one alone, it can kill so many people, and they have others. I mean, we were just talking about a few. You can get superhuman power through some of those drugs, but you will never recover after you finish to get that superhuman power. Then you will see me as a piece of chicken and want to eat me too.
So in that darkness, is there any light that you would like to shine on that, Jose?
I think, like to piggyback on it, it's that belief in the higher, that there's something bigger than you. Like I was talking earlier, it's like we were at a moment where people are really starting to want to learn who they are and try to figure out more about themselves. So when you start realizing that there's more to you, there's more to this earth, some people, it may go to the head a little bit. So we live in a savage country where I gotta be, that's my girl, that's my money. Right?
Everything is mine.
So everything's mine. And when that happens, you're a king, right? But you have a kingdom next to you. That's not your kingdom. So you have to treat it, because he could come to war with you. And so it's like you have a lot of big responsibility if you want to claim to be a king, if you want to claim to be something like that. You can't just and do everything you want, because it doesn't work that way. And the distractions that they give you, there's just distractions, because like you said, today's fentanyl, yesterday it was COVID, the day before that it was, and it's always going to be a fear. But you don't have to have fear if you really know who you are, stay true to who you are, and have a purpose.
So the fear of the Lord is the beginning of all knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, right? So the thing is that when we talk about that fear, it has to be regulated in a manner that it's actually absorbable by everyone. And you have to find a method. And that method of actually being attractive or magnetic to every and anyone has to be your stipulation today. Your stipulation every day that you set out, when you return home or when you lay your head to rest, whether it's for a short nap or whatever, should be to determine, who have I helped today? Who have I assisted in the path of the light? Understand? Rather than assisting in any shape, form, or fashion and leading them further into the darkness. And the ramification for all the injustices, all the ignorance, all the illiteracy, has to be that truth and has to be that power and that light. That must be our daily task. That is definitely the task of the few. The last standing that is willing to say, I'm not going to fall victim to the system of injustice, the system of darkness, the system of pain, of hurt, harm, and danger. I will uplift. I want you guys to address it from that standpoint, and let's lift these people up.
I see it like that. Like, you have to think about it. We came from a creator or whatever. We feel that way. We come here. We're all born of some sin where nobody's like really perfect. We are perfect, but we ain't perfect in that way, in the true righteous light. So we have to be like, you got to look at it like, we're here to help someone. Like you're saying, you're here to help someone, so you got to have that purpose. You got to do it. And You know what I mean? I just lost track of what I was going to say, but that's the way it
Doesn't
goes.
matter.
All right, but you tried.
No,
But
free.
when I look at it, perhaps the life that we are living here today, right?
Yes, sir.
It's a life where we are, or as I was saying earlier, we are educated in a system, whereas they taught us that we were born in sin and shapen in iniquity. Now remember, the system that we are born in, it's a system of sin. But they make us believe that we are the one born in sin. They shape us from the day we were born with that knowledge of and the educational system to make us think that, so because you have to be shaped. So you were born in sin, the system itself is sin, and then you are shapen in iniquity. So from even learning from A, B, C, D, E, F, you already been shapen into the iniquity of that system.
And what is the tools that they use to actually shape you?
Religion.
It's the media.
Is the media.
It's television, as you folks are watching right now. It's radio, and it's magazines, and it's the live events that you attend.
And
so we, as the few, has to go forth and say, no more.
And I don't want to cut you short, Paps. Now, we have never come to the knowledge of a real man and a real woman because of the system that we are living in and where they educate us with. Because in reality, we are living a life of death in every area of our life, in our drinking, in our even breathing. The air is polluted, the food is poisoned, the water you drink is another toxic. So the education, everything is death. But out into the true knowledge of the spiritual life itself, for where you and I should be in the realm of true life, so that we could learn to love ourselves. We have to re-educate ourselves and go back to the source of life now to find.
That's the term.
Yeah,
recreation. Jose, go ahead.
It's just that. You got to think of the stipulation. The stipulation to this country, they wanted to come to this country to get away from the monarchy or the divine ruler at that time or whatever, because they felt, we're not going by that because we don't believe in that. We're going to go start our own thing over here. All right, but there's going to be ramifications for the way you live. That's what you're really going to go. Like I said, as a king, if you have a divine king, you feel like you're from God, regardless of what the real belief is, whatever, you got to uphold that responsibility. If you're going to say that's you're a king from God, good luck.
And everybody calls themselves kings and queens today. I want you to take 1 minute as we start to wrap up JDX and tell us give them a stipulation and a ramification. A stipulation and a ramification.
Simple. Go back to the beginning of your life. As I always tell you, Paps, every man was born through sperm and egg. Your daddy, without your dad's sperm, no baby. Indeed. Boom. From this sperm to the egg, boom. What happens right there? You become an embryo right there, right? Boom. You become a fetus, then you shape into a body, into this. You had no say in it for 9 months. There was a time in our life for 9 months, there was not Jose, there was not Papa T, there were no JDX. It was a divine hand fashioned us in that womb, in a big bowl of water, and manifest us and drop us on earth. And then we become among all different kind of people, and we get confused because everybody gave us a different kind of understanding of life. But the point still remains, they shaped us in whatever. You are Spanish, you Black American, I'm Caribbean, but we all have a different access and a different accent. And then, so we all had a different understanding about life. But the point still remains, at the end of the day, the same cry that you made when you were born, I made it. No matter which one of us. The same last breath with that same, you will do, I will do. But in that space between the day you cry and the day you will take the last breath.
Respond to that, Jose.
It's going to be the way you lead it. You have to make a choice. You have to really be.
Now, did you ever live the fullness of that life between that two spaces? Because the same hand that had fashioned you without us in silence, when you didn't have no say. You follow where I'm coming from? When we didn't have no say in that space of the 9 months, we lost track of it from the moment he dropped us on the face of the earth. And we start saying, I, mine, yours, because that's what we were taught. But we were never taught to depend on the hands that formed us in the womb.
Okay, so that's a subject matter that I promised, as I have breath in my body, we will return to because it's hardcore. But right now, I want everybody to take a turn. I want you to have stipulation. I want you to have a ramification for it, and I'll close out.
Okay.
Because we have
stipulation,
30 seconds each.
I just want you to know that in the process of sowing a seed, Stipulate. When you sow that seed, like this morning I sow a couple of seeds. I first dig the soil, I took it off and put it together, fine it up, put my seed in, water it. Result is I'm waiting for it to see what will happen. So right now I've already stimulated something that I'm looking for the ramification of it, which will be the harvest.
What's that?
You give me the harvest of whatever seeds I plant, tomatoes, I plant some cucumber. So you could.
But the harvest is a little work though, because you got to make sure you do it the right way. You don't want to.
Yes, sir.
So it goes back to what I'm just figuring, all of the things I heard from you guys today, is it goes back to those two key terms, sowing and reaping.
Yes, sir.
You will reap what you sow. So therefore, that is the stipulation, right? And the ramification is the sowing. The result of everything that you see, do, touch, and feel, and think will be the result of what you actually have done in your lifetime and in your life space.
Yo, we did all that just to say that? That's all you had to say.
No, but at the end of the day, Pat,
I love him.
we could have just say all of that one time, was it?
Gotta break it simple for me.
That's at the end of the day, we love you. Without you, there'd be no us. We look forward to coming back with whatever terms is revealed to us by whatever source and continuing to build. And I believe you have a simple process here today from stipulation and ramification, which is sowing and reaping and doing what you need to do and doing it with the intention of righteousness and good. It doesn't make, nobody can tell you what's right and what's wrong. Only your own mind, your own subconscious, superconscious, and therefore. With that being said, we're starting to even have branches of the few that folks are picking up off of. Danny revealed one to me in Springfield, Massachusetts now. But with that being said, it's been a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure,
We're
Pat.
going to be visiting all those places throughout the nation and continue to spread, develop, and grow. Success awaits us, folks.
Peace, my
Keep
brother.
it coming.
But that knowledge.
Two-tone and L-E-L-N-E-S-S-N. Yes, we are the very best.
$7 popping collars, eating shrimp. $5 met some girls from Guatemala, now they trying to holler.
Now before they wouldn't bother, now I'm trying to be a scholar, cause she giving all the knowledge to me.
Knowledge to me.
Doing her work every night of the week.
Night of the week.
Like she chilling up at college with me.
College with me, but we cruising, man. Rolling up at 4:30. Kush same color as a Kobe Road jersey, or a throwback worthy. Giraffe ass high, fresh breeze just passing us by. Cause I'm cruising.